Oh, is your hair short now?
Yes, it is. It is. It is. Oh, also, I think the people watching on YouTube might be hearing silence, so let me remedy that if it is the case.
Is it the case? I can check. Yeah, they are hearing nothing.
Okay.
Is your hair short now?
Let me make it.
I think it just fixed. Yeah, it's fixed.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, YouTube people. We're all good now, though. So, to start out, we're going to be talking about a little movement that's been going on in Rhode Island. But before we do that, I'm going to get rid of the fogginess on my camera.
Is there going to be time for Jorge Soto?
Yes, there is. I told him just now that he'd be coming in slightly later at 5:10 rather than 5 o'clock like originally stated.
Perfect.
Okay, so first and foremost, as I said, there's a movement going on in Rhode Island now, started by young high school students. It is known as the Gen Z movement. And rather than explain it myself, I'll let the two co-founders explain it themselves, as recorded in RI4C TV video, which you're about to see now. One moment as I get it open.
I'm very excited for this video. I don't know anything about this movement, but I am surely curious. I'm going to mute myself.
It is a very good video, and the two girls, who are both co-founders, actually, they're both very well spoken. You guys will enjoy watching.
Very excited.
Here it is.
What are we waiting for to get it together?
What
are they? Do you remember them?
Gen Z We Want to Live is a youth organized group. We rely on adult allies for support, but we are youth-led.
We are an organization that is youth-led and adult allied. We advocate for education and power within our voices.
We aim to educate and advocate. We want to work to be the blueprint for the next generation.
We are the blueprint to create more leaders and for more to have their voices be heard.
We develop curriculum and plan workshops in order to engage the greater community, especially youth.
We will do this for our city and for the nation. We will work undeniably hard to keep the movement going and to make sure this does not die down as a trend.
We will inspire youth to be skilled advocates and also create political influence.
This is our life. This is our future children's life. This is ours before us lives. We must fight to make the change.
We are Gen Z We Want to Live.
I am Isabella James Delicati, co-founder of Gen Z We Want to Live, as well as a youth advocate.
I am Jayshelle Nicole Shank, and I'm the co-founder of Gen Z We Want to Live, as well as a youth advocate.
All right, that is the video that we had recorded. Well, not we, I was not present. Actually, from what I've heard, I don't know about right now, but it might very well be right now as well. But for the past few days, if you had gone outside of the State House in Providence, Rhode Island, you would have seen a lot of people from this group actually standing outside of it.
Really? What were they doing?
I think they're involved in the same movement as the police protests that we've been seeing all across the country. Just much more specific to the youth.
Do they have like programs? Are they doing like things like? Could I reach out and go and like organize with them?
Yes, most likely. Unfortunately, oh wait, I do know that they have Instagram accounts, and I could pass them on to you. When I say you, I mean Garrison. I'm not sure if they'd want me to release them publicly, but I very well could if I get the green light from them, since I intend to contact them as well.
Cool. Yeah, I would love to do that. I'm very interested in local movements.
Yeah. So, do you think there's anywhere else we can take this, or could we move on to the first half of the musical segment we have planned for today?
I have a question for you, which is
Oh, go ahead.
like what? So did you get to speak with them at all?
Oh no, that video was not. I was not present for the recording of that video.
Okay.
That was all Nick.
So do you know anything else about them besides what you told me just then?
No, I do not. I have very minimal knowledge on them. This is the only time I've watched the video and paid full attention rather than taking a passing glance. But I do know that they are very ambitious in what they wish to do,
Nice.
in terms of bringing youth together, similarly to how Haven wants to bring people together.
Mhm. Yeah, they sound very ambitious and well spoken. They did they put together as a speech or as a or was that off the top?
It sounded like a speech, but I wouldn't know which one it was.
All right. That's really fascinating. I'm excited to speak with them and see, like, meeting with excited and ambitious individuals is one of the most like fantastic things. I'm totally up to talking to John Soto now.
Yeah, I sent him the link to join, and it's just a matter of him actually joining. I sent it to him on Instagram. He has not seen it yet.
Can you tell me a little bit about him? Tell us about him.
Okay, so he is someone who I know personally. I went to high school with him, and we're part of the same graduating class. I see I think there's been a bit of a glitch with Instagram. The messages I sent him don't appear to have gone through. I sent the Zoom link to him again. I'm telling him to join whenever he's ready.
So continue.
While I say that, so he's performed at the PBD Fest before. I actually have one of his albums right here. It's called Artifacts. So he doesn't have a specific sort of message to his songs. In terms of meaning, they're very different from each other. In terms of the type of music it is, he's a guitarist playing in mainly a sort of rock genre. As for the details of where his inspiration comes from, that's what I intend to ask him about when he comes in here. It says that he's active right now on Instagram, so I'm really waiting for him to see my message.
Keep going. I'm curious, like how you met him and what sort of led you guys to deciding to have him on the show.
Well, we had a few classes together, and in those classes, both of us often spoke about us creating the art that we create. What I found was that we view a lot of things in terms of pursuing it as a career very similarly, such as, for me, it's like, and for him as well, I don't care if I make, I'd rather make a little bit of money doing what I want than a lot of money doing something I hate. That's a position both of us have expressed using that exact wording.
Something that we recognize. It's so much. It can be so fulfilling, like creating and living in the worlds that you make. Do you so after you guys sort of discovered this about each other, did you ever end up collaborating?
No, but we easily can. Maybe that will come of this meeting, actually. Okay, so I just realized the problem. So I was messaging him on Instagram using the browser, which is a new feature. I guess since it's a new feature, it might have a few issues with it because the messages I sent have not gone through. I'm sending another one right now on my phone.
But yeah, what would you be interested in potentially doing with him?
Who knows? Maybe writing a song and he'll sing it, since that's not in my skill set at all.
You don't have the golden voice that you've always dreamt of.
Nope, not at all.
I would totally love to.
That's really weird. I think there might be something wrong with my internet. That's odd though, since the live stream is on just fine.
Yeah, I would love to know a little bit more about. I'm assuming he's seen the video, the message by this point.
Okay, Jerison, could you do me a favor and send him the invite link?
Sure. Why, it's not working for him?
Yeah, I have no idea what's up with my internet right now. I don't even know how we're live right now.
That's odd. Well, where does he need it?
Okay, go to Instagram.com/HO. It seems to have gone through. Actually, just in case, send it to him.
What's his?
Oh, he just messaged me really quick again. There. He has the link. He messaged me on a different account. Said, "Yo, bro." So I guess he's ready to come on. The link hopefully does not just say it went through, and actually has. Is anyone trying to join?
Not yet. Could you please keep telling me about this guy a little though?
Okay. So one of my favorite songs that he wrote is called "As If It Were Yesterday." It's about post-traumatic stress disorder, specifically in war. It's actually the first song I heard about him. I didn't really know him at this time, but he was promoting it on his Instagram account. And I actually took him for maybe like a SoundCloud rapper, who, which is a type of music I wouldn't be fond of. But it actually turned out being really good. So when I heard it the next day, because he said he's dropping tomorrow, and yeah, we became pretty close when he was hosting a concert at AS220, and I went to it, and we bonded at that concert.
Yeah.
He was one of 3 musicians playing, and I found it really enjoyable.
I'm assuming he's Horchata Soto.
Yes. Okay. Please send him the invite link.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. He said, "Bet, give me a sec." So, okay. Here's something I meant to look into before the show began that I have not. Is the PVD Fest still happening?
As far as I know, no. It would have been.
Damn. I heard it'd be delayed a little while ago, but I didn't hear any more news on it. So I thought it might still be going on. So I was gonna plug him, since I would expect he'd promote this year again. But hey, audience, in 2021, well, first of all, Haven's probably gonna do something at the PVD Fest.
100%.
But along with that, Jorge Soto will be performing whatever comes out, probably his latest album, around that time.
Yeah, they canceled 2020 PVD Fest. It's dead, guys. It's dead. How tragic. We're so sad, but you know what?
I mean, at least there's nowhere for a guy to start shooting. Oh, please keep an eye on the people trying to join.
That was such a. I know I'm watching, but that's such a heavy thing to say, my friend.
Sorry.
Slyly threw it in there and then left with it. Like, I didn't do that. I didn't hit you.
Hold on. Let me turn the volume on here up so I could hear you a bit better.
Absolutely. I'm glad you like it.
That is far more audible than it had been before.
I think he likes the sound of my voice, guys. I'm happy to hear it.
No, it's just that I'm about to interview George, and I want to be able to understand what he's saying.
I'm gonna keep pretending like it was my beautiful ringing falsetto. That
okay. believe whatever conspiracy theories you want. Do you also think the Earth is flat?
I, actually convinced a girl. Well, okay, I could definitely tell that she must have been around someone who truly believed the Earth is flat before she met me. Because when I spoke to her about it, he just joined. When I spoke, to her, it was all it. She completely believed me, and I could tell she had really argued with someone about it at some point. It was kind of surprising. All right, I'm gonna bring him in.
Cool.
Should I speak at all?
You can speak as much as you want. He is connecting.
Let me see. Hey, I'm here. What's up? What's up?
Man?
It's good. It's good. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm just like.
I was just telling them about artifacts.
Hey, for real?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Welcome to the live stream, friend.
Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, just give me like
my coffee.
2 minutes just to find a good parking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was telling me you're into sort of a rock type of a vibe.
Yeah, I am. So like a lot of rock, a lot of folk. But right now I'm mainly doing like rock and funk, surprisingly. And that's what I'm working on a lot right now.
Like Bruno Mars type funk or something else?
Kind of like 80s, like 70s funk. So like kind of like, like Kool and the Gang, or like I mean even Daft Punk. So stuff like that.
Okay, that sounds.
Yeah. And what else am I working on? I'm working on a couple of songs. So like quarantine got us all in our creative phases. But yeah, that's what I've been working on right now. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I'm doing a bit of like trap beats and stuff.
Oh yeah, do you use like a GarageBand type deal or?
Yeah. No, I use Pro Tools to make my music.
I've heard good things about that.
Yeah. Let me see. So I use Pro Tools, and that's all that I practically use. Sometimes I use what's it called? I'm trying to think of the name. Why am I forgetting the name?
So now
maybe you're on the spot, and that's why you're getting on nervous.
Now that you're sort of situated, like I think it'll be solid to bring in the actual interview now. I just want to welcome you to Providence Haven. Sort of this type deal. We have a lot of different artists and musicians on, as well as like kind of creators and all sorts of genres.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you guys? Wait, can you guys hear me now? Or like I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we just fine the whole time.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Alec is pretty ready to interview.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things I've been wondering was, as a fan actually, so you have songs that have meaning to them, such as Innocent or As If It Were Yesterday. You mentioned you're doing a lot of new songs now. I believe at one point you said that in 2020 you're gonna release a new song every month. I don't know how that stands now.
Yeah, I tried. So So that was the goal at the very beginning, right? Do a song a month, right? But a lot of stuff happened, and I'm gonna try to release like another like 3 or 4 more songs by the end of the year. So kind of like quantity over quality kind of thing, or like quality over quantity. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, that's what I'm working on. Also, I don't know how proud I am to say it, but I've been investing a lot of time on TikTok to promote music and that is really coming in clutch, because I'm about to hit. So like I have 2 accounts. One of them is like one of like the humor ones. Like I have a lot of fun doing those, and another account is my guitar account, or like where I do like a bunch of guitar covers or like remixes. But yeah, that's what I've been working on, and I just hit 5K followers.
Oh, congratulations!
On my main account, and the other one I'm like nearing 2K, and combined, like I'm about to hit 1 million total likes on my first account, and 500,000 on my second one.
So you want to plug those? You still there?
I'm right here.
My bad.
No,
there was like a
not
cop
you. I was
car.
talking to George. He kind of went quiet for a second.
Yeah, no, my bad. There was a cop car, and I was just like, dang, how should I?
I heard it. I was thinking, is he about to get pulled over live?
That would have been funny.
Yeah. So
that would have gotten the ratings though. Like that would have gotten an audience.
On YouTube we usually post. Oh yeah, this is the first stream that's live on YouTube. Also, by the way.
Oh okay.
Yeah. On YouTube, like we post clips of like stuff that happens live. That we would have promoted the hell out of that.
Imagine like he got pulled over live, but I might get some clickbait, but it's actual clickbait.
Yeah. So the reason I brought up those songs in particular was that I was wondering with is there any are there any issues you're tackling with your newer music that maybe you'd be willing to talk about without spoiling anything?
Yeah, I mean, so like one of my songs, I mean, the first song I released this year is called Sincere, right? And it was about like trying to be yourself, if that makes sense. Not trying to sound like very cliche or any of that, but like just trying to be like, just trying to vibe. Because like I literally, that was the first song that I released that I didn't overthink, if that makes sense. Because I love making music and it's dope to make songs and all that. But one of the biggest problems that I've had for a long time is that I overthink the crap out of some of the stuff. Like I overthink the guitar parts, I overthink the drum parts. Like is this a good note? Like that deep I go into like the lyrics too. And I have fun always, but there was always that stressful part about Artifacts. So Artifacts, I'm so proud of it. And like I guess I made an album. I made a whole album when I was like 16, right? I see that, and like I got them copied and everything. And I mean, I look back at it, I'm like, damn, I'm so proud of it. But the only thing I look back at it too was like how stressful it was making it, or how much I lost the vision at the very, very end. Like the vision for it was getting lost because instead of me focusing on the full picture, I was focusing on like little minor details that nobody really noticed or cared about. Or like, so when I made Sincere, I had a new motto going in. Like I just didn't, not that I didn't care what anyone thought about it, but I was just like, I'm gonna focus on myself, or I'm gonna make sure that it comes from the heart. Or like I'm not gonna overthink it. Like I'll make sure, like yeah, I'll like write everything down. But yeah, I just didn't overthink it, and it was like first gut feelings, and then I called it Sincere because that's like the truest form of my music that people are gonna hear.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I mean that seems like a perfect title for what you were going for as well.
Yeah.
One thing I was about to say before you almost got pulled over was about your TikTok. You said comedy. Is that something you're branching out into? Like perhaps
I actually am, because like so like I devoted a lot of time to it now. I don't know if it's just a phase or if I'm finding more happiness making them. But the thing about the TikToks, it's like, yeah, I have so much fun making them, and they're so quick to make too. Like they're like really, really quick, and people love them. People laugh at them, and like they're funny. And at the same time, I have my music one, so I devote a lot of time to that music guitar account, and I have so much fun making that too. And they're so quick to make. With songs, I spend like 2-3 months writing them and making them from like the start to finish, and that's not even counting if I want to make like a music video or something for them.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's quicker, and plus some of my videos have gotten more views than all of my songs combined. which is very, very weird to think about. But at the same time, I always wanted to become like an influencer, like, you know, like a YouTuber or like something like that.
Yeah.
Like I want to see, like I want to see how far I can go with TikTok and see if I'll be able to branch out to YouTube and like get more people on Instagram and all that. And then I can like take advantage of that. Be like, yo, I also got some music if you want to check out too. So, like, you know, like I'm seeing TikTok, like everyone's saying that now. Like it's more of like a gateway into doing bigger things because it's so easy to get an audience there. because like everyone's so different, and like there's no filter also, because like how to explain it, when I release music, I feel like I got to be a little careful with what I say, or like how to explain it, like my mom's gonna hear it. My sister, like not that I want to curse or anything like that, but it's just like, you know, make sure that it can be shared with my mom's friends. But with TikTok, it's like I don't even think like she knows I have that. It's stuff like that. And I mean,
can I ask a question actually?
yeah, go for it.
Why wouldn't you be able to swear in one of your songs?
It's not that I don't want to, or like, I mean, if I were to swear, I would just like, how to explain it? Like I'm not gonna sort of be like that bad boy or anything. Like I swear a lot, and like the songs and stuff. And I mean, I feel like I eventually am. Right now, I don't know, it just doesn't cross my mind as much. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's more like, yeah, I feel like my mom and like is gonna hear it and stuff like that, and like I don't know if she's gonna feel about it. But at the end of the day, I probably won't care if I actually start doing it.
What do you consider like what do you consider dirty? You know what I mean? Because I'm hearing like, like would you be upset if you said like, I don't know, the word like fuck in one of your songs?
No. I mean, I say it a lot. Are we? Can we swear here? Like, does it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. I mean, I'm not gonna take advantage of it now, but it's just like, yeah, like, but yeah, I mean, I swear it's fine. It's whatever. I really don't like see it as a barrier into me like not making music or anything like that. It's just like when I made a lot of songs before, that was when I really wasn't swearing, or I was more like, oh, let me be that innocent person, or like I overthink it. I'm like, oh, what are they gonna say if I swear? But now it's more like, does it really fucking matter now? Or like, yeah. And
so it's sort of like a younger thing for you to have.
Yeah, it was a younger thing, but now it's more like, I guess I'm more mature, but I'm not gonna like, I don't know, like if it happens, it happens. Like I'm not against swearing or like anything. Yeah, you guys see me better here.
I was wondering if I played one of your songs, would it sound like a Christian rock band?
It would sound like an indie rock band. Like I mean, I'm not that religious either. That's the thing.
I know that. Like I chose that genre because of the fact that they don't tend to swear, and so
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. But I just don't see it as a barrier. It's not like, oh, I don't want to swear. It's more like I haven't found a need to swear in the songs.
What sort of stuff do you write about?
I mean, at first I was writing about stuff like for example, artifacts. It was a lot of other people's point of views, and it was meant to raise awareness for certain things. So like, as if it were yesterday, it was about like a soldier who had PTSD. Another song like Innocent that I wrote is about, it's about, how to explain it, like copywriting. So like, hey, like why you guys, like I make a song and then someone says, hey, this song sounds like some other thing, or like, did you just copy this artist when I had no intention to, or like I haven't even heard the song before, stuff like that. Other stuff is like, so it was a lot of not personal stuff, but it was very, very weird stuff, if that makes sense. Like not very common things to talk about, like, but not in a bad way, but like, you know, like the soldier having PTSD, or like getting copyrighted, or like trying to like find a guide to in life, if that makes sense. Like, or what else? Yeah. What else? Oh, another one is trying to like make it big, like hit the scene, like trying to become famous. So like, not a lot of my songs are about like love or like stuff like that. And I did have a song about love, but it was very, very funny, or like, how to explain it? So the song was called Every Fifth Word. So the lyrics are a love song, right? But every fifth word of the lyrics has a secret meaning, and that meaning was like a hate song. It was like, hey, I don't want to love you anymore, this and that. So I guess I have that creative touch with lyrics.
How interested are you in becoming famous?
How interested am I? I mean, at first it was like very, very big. I was like, I'm trying to hit it. Now it's more like I just want to be happy. Like I find that more successful with like like the songs that I make now is just like I have so much fun with them, and I have so much like I jam out to them so much now that I don't care how many views they get, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Like not in a bad way. Like it's like, oh, like I don't care if it hits zero, like if it hits 0 views, but it's not like I'm stressing out over becoming famous now. But and also with like that TikTok stuff that I was talking about, it's a lot of like attention I'm getting there. So like I already feel like I'm making it somewhere, and I'm happy doing that content. So that's already a win in my book.
What kind of humor do you make?
A lot of Hispanic
Could you tell
humor.
us, like one of the
TikToks or something? Yeah, I mean, like I just made one. I just made one today, where it's like, I don't know how to explain it. So like a lot of my TikToks, yeah, it's like, oh, like I'm gonna bring up an old memory that you forgot you had, and it's like an old like Spanish commercial or something that like people grow up with. Or I also, what else do I talk about? I mean, I follow some trends, but not that many. It's just a lot of like Univision that I bring up. So like a bunch of like Spanish TV stuff that people like, that people will find funny. Or like cultural things, like you're Guatemalan if this, if your mom's like this. So it's just stuff like that. On my other account, my guitar account, I do like guitar remixes. So I get like popular songs and I just put a guitar remix over them. And that's fun. I have a lot of fun with that. Or I do like some funny like transitions, some cool transitions with guitars and stuff. Which, I mean, that's my music account now, and that's what I'm investing more time in right now. And once I feel like I got a good audience, or like once, because right now I'm working on a song and like it's almost done, and that'll probably come out in like July. So I'm still gonna keep on making music, but I just see this as like a little side thing, like something that I have a lot of fun with.
I hear that.
Yeah, you want to plug those accounts because like they sound fun.
Plug those? Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Horchata Soto. So Horchata, like the drink _Soto. So that's like my Instagram. Same thing as my Instagram one. That's the first account, and the second account is guitar _Soto. So that's pretty much it. It's nothing too major. Nothing too like. It's pretty straightforward. Like you know which one's which.
Yeah, and here's another thing. When this coronavirus situation cools down to the point that people are allowed to go to concerts again, do you have anything planned for the future right now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I actually had I was gonna open up a show in April that got canceled. I was gonna open up another show. The show's in 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure that's canceled. So, and there's another one that's gonna happen in August 29th, around there, where I'm gonna be opening up as well. But it's still in the waters. But if anything, I'll just keep on making music and stuff. And I have plans because I like playing live. Playing live is fun, and I like seeing all the people supporting and stuff.
Yeah. So like let's see. I've been checking the time. So we got a minute until the next segment comes on. But before then, if you ever have a live event that you're doing and you want to get it out, contact me or Garrison, and
definitely
we'll put it on here.
All right, sounds good, man.
Put it on the timeline on the Facebook page or YouTube.
All right, cool, bro. Yeah, I'll make sure to share it and stuff.
All right, and if you ever want to come on again, just hit one of us up.
All right, bro. This is fun. Yeah, next time I'll make sure I'm not in a car. I'll be in front of my. I'll be in front of my. Yeah, have you seen my podcast setup that people talk about with the mic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure. I'll make sure it's that. I'll make sure I'm there.
Yeah, because we had a few classes together in school, and we used Zoom for to go to those classes. He looks like a gaming YouTuber.
Because you saw my mic and like the headphones and everything, and like the chair.
It was super professional. Do you sing there?
Yeah, I mean that's the same exact mic that I use to make the music with.
I figured
it's already connected to the computer, and like I was like, all right, I'll just use that. It's funny because people are just like, man, he looks like a whole podcast. He's already started a whole like gaming channel.
Yeah,
I don't know.
All right, cool.
All right, bro.
We'll see you later, George.
Oh yeah. Thank you, man. I'll leave the chat thing.
Okay, cool.
See ya, bro.
See ya. Is he Garrison? Please You can show your face when we interview people. You don't have to mute your mic and hide your camera.
Well, I thought it was respectful. And plus, I was enjoying watching you interact with this guy.
Okay, yeah. I guess it was quite entertaining. Anyway, if you've been here since the beginning of the stream, or you follow me on Instagram, which you should, you know that this segment is the one where we talk about the book that I'm currently writing. Which, sorry, I see myself backwards, so it's kind of confusing. Which you can see the cover for here, and a cutout of the main character for here. So this book is called The Dog's Day. It's set in the near future, and it falls into the sci-fi genre. I've spoken about it before. I'm not sure how detailed I got into the plot, but to give a basic overview, what starts out as an average girl ends up having a role in the government against her will thrust upon her, where she is against her will put into a bionic body, which basically makes her next to indestructible, and she has to carry out like government assignments, which morally she's not down with. And that's all I'm gonna say now without spoiling. But Jerison here has actually been typing it. So since the current plot, I want to make a lot of changes to it, but since I wrote it down on paper, I can't, like a Word document, I can't jump to the middle of it and add stuff there since it's the written word. So Jerison, since the overarching plot is going to remain pretty much the same, what would you say about what you think of the book now, having gotten as far as you did?
Well, what's been interesting is originally when I first started reading it, I got sort of a 1984 kind of a vibe off of the. I just threw some grapes. Huh?
Are those grapes you just threw?
They were grapes, and now they're in the garbage.
Okay, 1984. I'm not familiar with that. I think I heard of it. Is it a? Oh, right. I heard about it yesterday. I heard about it yesterday in a YouTube video. But I was like, what is that? I heard it was I heard it used as an example of an artist telling the truth by lying to you. But I don't know what it's about.
I'm very impressed by the fact that you haven't read that book, because that is one of the most. It's just a heartwarming and intense story. Heartwarming is not the right word. It's 1984 is really like dystopian future story. It talks about what would happen if the government was really set up in a way that was sort of regulatory of people's thought, as well as of just their of maybe the laws that govern our current society. So I really was feeling a lot of those vibes, this like sort of mind control aspect in the beginning, because of how it says, like in one of the first couple of pages. You don't mind if I read a sentence, do you?
Go ahead.
It says, despite the entertainment these advances brought the citizens of 2030 United States, they seemed as nothing but a distraction, a smokescreen to the drastically shrinking rights of the American people. Just a few decades ago, people were in school taught about the 10 Commandments that made up the Bill of Rights.
No, the 10 Amendments. The 10 Commandments.
I said
the Bible.
Yeah, I meant amendments. The 10 amendments that made up the Bill of Rights. Now there are 9. And the one that was gotten rid of in the story was the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. So when I read that, I immediately really connected with the 1984 sort of a story setup, because of again, that aspect of mind control, it was immediately there. And it's one of the most frightening potentials of a regulatory internet and a heavily or maybe a selectively controlled media. But then, as I kept reading it, it really went into a different region as we sort of got into 1984. The interesting thing about it is that people were controlled through fear mainly. They were really like the worry that people had was that if they said the wrong thing, it could get found out and they could get put into some kind of jail or worse, just vanish from society. Whereas in this book, it's really, I mean, it's pretty pleasure driven, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's alongside that, since it's supposed to an extent, tie in with rights that people have lost in real life. But at this point, it's sort of explained as being a gradual thing, such as rather than outright banning alcohol, in this book they're at a point where they're like, well, like, you can drink alcohol, but you need a license, and that license is incredibly difficult to get. As for one example,
that seems sort of similar to some situations in America today.
That's what I'm saying. For example, every time there's a national crisis, free rights are sort of pushed back a bit. 9/11 is an example. The shoe bomber incident is another example. The coronavirus might very well end up being an example, but we don't have hindsight yet. So,
how do you think that the coronavirus, not to pull away from the plot, but how do you think that the coronavirus might reduce some of our rights?
It's hard to say specifically. One thing I could see happening is perhaps, well, it wouldn't be a bad thing to hide disinformation, or not really hide, but sort of discredit it, which I expect to happen. There's a lot of people who theorize that the coronavirus maybe doesn't exist, and it's just a setup to keep us in our homes while they, which is stupid, do bad things, or that it's some sort of intentionally genetically modified organism that's getting people sick. Those people are idiots, by the way. I'm not agreeing with them, but in censoring those people, perhaps if there is some legitimate wrongdoing, those people might be swept along with them, and genuine criticism might be just discredited.
It's hard to know if those people are directly idiots. There have been several national level governments that have looked into this. Like Australia is in a bit of a pickle right now because they tried to call for an investigation into the origins of coronavirus, and that sort of prompted China to start up a trade war between them and Australia.
Okay, yeah. Now that you mention it, you're right. Let me be a little fair. So, if you think that perhaps, possibly, the coronavirus being a genetically modified organism that is meant to spread to the extent that it does, if you think that's possibly the case, then sure, I'd say that's not out of the realm of possibility. We have genetically modified babies now. But if you think you know for sure because X, Y, and Z, there's unless you actually took part in the doing of that, you have no way of knowing.
So this book, this like reduction of the amendments, to talk to the readers a second, was there one of these crises events within the story of the Dog Day that sort of explains why the government would have done such a thing?
No, which is why it's set 10 years from present day, which the main character was born in 2010. And there's a reference, since one thing to note is that the book dives into a few themes that in the second draft that I plan to write when Jerison finishes typing, I want to go over them and make sure I got through them all in good taste. which is something I intended to actually ask Jarrison about after the live stream. So one of those topics is religion. And since the protagonist, and by extension their family, come from a family of Muslims, one thing I referenced was, I believe, the 2014 or 2015 Paris terrorist attack, which I forget what exact group did it, but they were followers of that religion. So I just realized that what I was about to say before I got into this tangent was that I was thinking, okay, let me go back. To answer your question, what I'm thinking is that maybe rather than a crisis, what I wanted to go with was it's done very gradually, so that rather than a huge sweep of taking away freedoms all at once, it's done gradually to an extent that people can accept it.
Well, 10 years doesn't seem gradually at all.
That's what I am saying. It did to almost 16-year-old me when I started writing this.
That was a long time ago.
I started writing this at the end of my sophomore year of high school. I just graduated. That sentence you read was written by me back then, actually. But the reason I got into that tangent was because since that happened in 2014, it was supposed to be a childhood memory. And I just realized that if it's pushed back farther, I wouldn't want to make her older. So that would have to be compensated for. Yeah, so that's just why I got into that tangent.
And so could you take us through, do you remember how you talked to me a little bit about the Dog's Day a long time ago? You sort of gave me a bit of like your synopsis. Could you, for just a second, tell the readers or tell the viewers why you're really excited about this book, like kind of what pulled it out of you, as well as why you think they might enjoy reading it?
Well, first of all, this is a book that I think is good enough that I won't be doing a weekly live stream series where I occasionally have a segment where I insult it for half an hour. Second of all, I'd say it's really at a point where I'm not sure how far Jarrison is, but if he's far enough, he can attest to this, that the antagonist actually has a reason for doing what they do other than money. That's part of it, but there's actually some sort of psychological development to make them want to do something that the average person would consider disgusting.
Wow, those are some heavy words. Do you
Okay, without spoiling, did you get to the meeting where everyone drinks scene? It included one of the main antagonists saying something about his brother that you probably found disturbing.
To further your thought, the one that you had just a second ago, I was trying to, I was hoping to really hear why, or rather who this book was meant to be read by.
That's hard to say.
Who do you feel would have identified or connected with this?
Here's really the thing I want to say. So I'm not sure if there's a specific person who I can be like, this book is for you. But I feel like as more of a general thing, the reason you're seeing a lot of at some points legitimate conspiracy theories, at other points ridiculous ones like vaccines cause autism or the coronavirus ones I mentioned a little while ago, is because I really think that we're getting to a point where people are sort of realizing maybe the people in power don't have our best interest at heart. And I'm sort of exploring the ways as to how that could happen. Sort of, it's in a way a spin on if you look at movies from like the 80s, for example, when people had crazier hair, or really any movie of the future, if you look at the time period it was made in, like if it was made in the 80s when people had crazy hair, then they go to the future and it's an exaggeration of that. Everyone has even crazier hair, or something like that. To emphasize the points in this book, it's sort of the same thing, except with the negative aspects of where we're at today, to hyperbolically highlight them. I guess to some extent, to pull away the legitimacy from the ridiculousness of people theorizing. So really, to answer your question in a direct way, to circle back to it, if you're someone who, like I just mentioned, who's beginning to realize that maybe what you've been told about, basically, I hate saying society, but basically what you've been told by society to necessarily put all your faith into the president or the government or whatever, might not be the best advice to follow. If you're beginning to come to that conclusion yourself, then this is a book you'd probably enjoy, since it's I guess speculative in how that mindset, if it is true, should turn out.
Interesting. So it's perfect for the person who is worried about a potentially dystopian future.
Certainly. Oh yeah. And this is not in the copy Jerison has, but if you do buy the book, which you will enjoy it. Jerison, did you enjoy it? Please help me sell things.
I would say yeah. So far, I have felt a mix of joy and pain for the character, which has been really sobering. I wasn't sure what to expect when I first learned about this, but after listening to a clip that Alec showed me once.
So to explain that really quick, I could probably, you know what? I don't care releasing that part. Hey, you guys, after we stop going live, you'll see a YouTube link, both up here if you're watching on Facebook and down here if you're watching on YouTube, of the clip Jerison is talking about, which is a short audio clip that it's text to speech, so it sounds horrible, but it's of like the prologue and the half of the first chapter. That was written in the first draft. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you, but go on.
I want to say just quick, the audio was actually pretty good on that. I enjoyed listening to it. It felt like it felt easy to listen to, you know. To continue what I was just saying, the main character goes through some, like, it's not an easy time for them. I don't want to give the story away, but when I first heard about what was happening from talking to Alec, as well as from listening to the that clip, I really had a moment of what if that happened to me, because I just don't know how I would react to the same sort of situations. To help them get a little hint into that part of your story, could you? How do you feel about maybe talking about the whole gambling world as well as the VR aspect of things? Could you set the scene a little bit?
Yeah. So this is necessarily this is sort of what I mentioned a bit earlier about like if you look at the past, future movies, it's that time period, but exaggerated. This is, and I said in this book it was largely negative things. This is an exception to that. So one thing we see happening today is gaming is a hobby that you see, and I believe half the population considers themselves gamers, and even more than that, have probably played video games occasionally. I know I do, and I don't consider myself a gamer. Another thing you see happening is things like the Oculus Rift or other VR headsets, or I could even take the phone you're watching me off of right now, and if I get a certain like box, I could put that in my head and play video games with it, and it looked like I was through my eyes in the game. It's sort of that exaggerated, but as you know, in the past, we didn't have PlayStations or N64s if we go back far enough. What we had were you would go to an arcade with a bunch of quarters and play Street Fighter or something on a machine. So in this book, it's sort of like we've circled back to that, but instead of actually playing on a machine, you sort of just walk into a large room, put on a headset, and play like a round of CS:GO or something, but like involving physical movement and everything. And basically the setup, which this is a bit more than you'll hear in the audio clip that I'll send here soon. Is that so the main character has a roommate named Christy, who has a very unfortunate gambling addiction, gotten so bad that they actually lost enough money that they can no longer afford to pay the internet for their apartment. And instead of that, what they have to do, what Christy ends up doing, is going to internet cafes and playing online, like, cards or whatever on her computer there. So what the main character ends up doing is, instead, she finds the guy who lost, I think, 500 from them, and she bets him 1,000 that she can beat him in one of those VR games that I mentioned earlier. And the thing about the rules is that of those arcades, since they can have their own rules in their own business, is that betting on the outcome of a game is strictly forbidden, and you can be banned for doing it. But nonetheless, a lot of people get away with it, which she does. And I don't want to say what happens after that because, Jerison, and that'd be a huge spoiler.
Yeah. Giving you guys spoilers isn't the way to go. We just want to tantalize you and leave you behind.
Let's see. We have 7 minutes left in this segment.
I have a couple more questions, actually.
Okay, good. I was getting a bit worried that we maybe went a bit too fast.
I know that you really are about creating messages when it comes to the stories you tell. With the Kingmaker, you were exploring conflict resolution and leadership. With Rebellious, you were kind of making a jab at like an oppressive system and being born in into a bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
With this story, do you feel like there's an overarching message that you're trying to get across, or is there some kind of maybe moral statement that you wanted to make with the story?
I'd say by and large, the way I'd put it is that you should take it as a hyperbole for where we're at societally now, and if you recognize any issues that the book points out in your mind that you would want to change, then it's encouraging that change. I meant to say this earlier, but we got into talking about the plot between Jerison and I. What I was getting into was the end of the book, which isn't the copy Jerison has. If you buy the book, you will see the conclusion of it has a in a Word document, it's like 2 pages. It's probably going to be more in the document that in the page size rather that the book is sold as. You'll see several pages of binary, meaning ones and zeros. Translate those, and you'll get actually a message that answers Jarrison's question that is far better than the way I'm answering it, so that I don't just repeat that message.
Yeah,
I still answered it pretty well. By the way, the message is stated from the perspective of the protagonist.
Okay. So, is this supposed to be a fearful message or a speculative one? What, like, are you?
I'd say it's a call to action more than anything.
You're asking the reader to be careful for a future that may come?
More so like, let's take the most similar example that came to my mind was the film Joker. So what that points out, similarly to my story about where we're at societally now, is there's problems in the way we assess mental health, as well as problems in the way we deal with poverty. Those are the 2 main big parts of it. And the story points out those, and is sort of a on one end, it's a cautionary tale because of spoiler-free. We kind of know where the Joker ends up, but like spoiler-free, the bad things that results from those issues, and but at the same time, it's much more implicit. But it's like we've pointed out what the problems are. You should probably fix these before what we just showed you actually happened. And I'd say that same thought process applies largely to the Dog's Day.
Do you what would be like an action you would want someone to take, or that you would be happy that someone took after they read this book?
God, that's hard to say because it involves predicting the future a bit. So let's say here's a problem I think we have right now, and this is actually a box that we paint ourselves into. Once again, I mentioned him on the last show too. I'd like to, since this is a concept that I had in my mind but couldn't exactly put my finger on what it was, I'd like to thank TJ Kirk / The Amazing Atheist, someone I look up to. One thing he said recently on a show on his YouTube channel was that one problem that we have is that something we do to each other is soft censorship, where, when we think of censorship, we think of an authority saying that you're not allowed to say or express in a certain way because they dislike that. But one thing that an individual, or I guess a series of individuals might do to a particular work is get that censored by themselves through something that he called and that I will now call soft censorship, which is if you argue that a work of, say, art is morally wrong, then while you might not be even outright saying this should be banned, you're in some ways, first of all, disincentivizing the artist from creating it, and implying that it should be censored, perhaps legally, by calling it morally wrong or something to that effect.
Interesting. So
perhaps if we see it every now and again in the news, like some guy some maybe controversial speaker was going to speak at a college, and a lot of the students who go to that college protested to have it shut down, and the college complied. Perhaps that might expand farther. Perhaps a college might be having an art exhibit, and someone might have a controversial,
Position.
yes, or maybe like a piece that, a piece that expresses a controversial position, or maybe just a subject matter that people might not want discussed. What I basically what I one action that the book would lead to would be like, since it clearly is pro free speech or freedom of expression, as I prefer to call it, would be stop that before maybe it spreads farther. Perhaps maybe rather than petitioning a university, someone might petition the government.
So it sounds like this is sort of the position that some politicians have been taking, and saying that becoming too politically correct can be just as dangerous as allowing a lot of negative ideas to roam around in the media.
Yeah, that's actually a completely different position I take on negative ideas. I forget what this guy's name is. I believe he's a jazz musician. He was on Joe Rogan once. He gave a TED Talk, which, if you scroll through YouTube recommendations, you've probably seen at least the thumbnail before. The title of the TED Talk is "Why I, as a Black Man, Attend KKK Rallies." Basically, what this guy did was, okay, so one thing to say really quick: if you don't know how the KKK operates, they're less like a universal organization, and there's more so KKKs. So there might be one in like the South and one in like the opposite side of the country. They're not really affiliated. Anyway, this guy basically disbanded an entire one of these groups of people, or at least most of them, by, rather than calling them horrible things, which though is completely understandable, he sort of just talked to them, and they saw that this guy is black, but none of these preconceived notions I have hold up in the slightest. I'd say that rather than censoring the, I guess this kind of falls in line with We Are Human as well, with Samantha Dick's book that is being published, I don't know when. Do you know?
We haven't decided a date yet.
Okay, well, basically the point is, a lot of change of negative ideas is done just by talking to people, and we need to get to the next segment soon. But damn, I lost my train of thought. To close out, sorry. I guess we could just go on to the next segment. Jerison, is there something you want to say?
I would love to. You were saying that this guy was able to get the Ku Klux, the KKK to disband, or at least this section of it, just via talking to them.
Yeah, well, it didn't happen overnight, but like, he'd befriend one of them, or maybe go to a bar with them, and gradually their view would change.
But how does that? For my final question, how does that tie into the actions that you want the individuals reading The Dog's Day to take?
Yeah. Okay. So the reason we got into that was because we went off on way more of a tangent. So you asked, like, what kind of action would you want them to take? And I said, perhaps, since the book promotes freedom of expression, if that is curbed, then maybe we'd want to go more towards something like, if one thing you'd want to curb would be people trying to infringe on the freedom of expression at all. And then we kind of got more into an overall discussion of, since we were talking about one thing that a lot of people like to, maybe this shouldn't be allowed is maybe, I guess, hateful speech. And then we kind of got into, that's why I got into that guy. And yeah.
That's it's really.
By the way, I highly recommend checking him out. I hate that I can't remember his name, but if you look up the title that I said, "Why I, as a Black Man, Attend KKK Rallies" on YouTube or Google, you'll find him like right away.
Why I, as a Black Man,
attend KKK rallies.
Why I, as a Black Man, Attend KKK Rallies. That sounds like a fascinating read.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on and talking about the Dogs Day with us real quick.
Of course. I'm happy to promote my work.
Yeah. So our next guest is going to be a man by the name of Trevor McCabe. He's a bass player, and he's actually played at one of the Public Haven events. He is currently working alongside a band to do a couple of different projects. And we wanted to bring him on the show today to sort of talk about his setup, where he's going, and what he's been doing to deal with continuing to grow as an artist during the coronavirus. So without further ado, let me bring him in. Hey there, Trevor.
Do you still have the paper to explain to him how to connect to audio?
I don't, but I have the chat, and it works even better.
Oh, I think no, he didn't. He didn't connect.
One thing.
Oh, he did it. He did it.
Fantastic.
You can unmute yourself. We're completely ready to speak to you.
Yes. Hi there, Trevor. How have you been?
I don't know if this is working. I can't hear anything.
Yeah. You can't hear me?
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me? Okay, good.
It was muted for some reason.
How are things going?
Good. I'm just getting out of work, so you know.
Are you where are you at? I see what looks like a office space behind you.
Oh yeah. I'm still at work. I'm just in the offices over here.
Oh, cool. That's really nice.
Right.
You do.
Yeah.
How have you been? How was your work day? Nice and productive? Did you get some?
Yeah.
Good...
Yeah, I drove around picking up stuff for other stores, and then just filling out departments and stuff. You didn't work today, right?
No. For context, everybody, Trevor and I both work at the same Lowe's together, where we've been learning some great things about each other and how. And that's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
Trevor's great at finding stuff, and I'm new to the location, so he's been helping me a lot in a lot of different ways. We've been making little journeys throughout Lowe's together.
That's it.
And it's been fantastic. So I'd love to introduce Alec. He's the Haven Village Live co-host.
Okay. Hello there. Nice to meet you.
Hey, how's it going, Alec? How we doing?
Excellent. I just got done promoting a book I'm writing, so I'm quite happy actually. It went well. I hear you're a musician.
What was that?
What kind of music do you make?
Oh, okay. Mostly metal stuff, some rock stuff, electronic stuff if I, feel the need. I don't know, whatever strikes my fancy at the time.
Yeah.
What's your book about?
Oh, my book. Well, to put it simply, if you'd like to know way more, you can turn on this live stream and go to the 1 hour mark. To quickly let you know, it's sci-fi set in the near future. That is the cover.
Okay. Neat.
Okay.
It's sci-fi. Alec, maybe tell him a little bit. It's sort of dystopian setup.
Well, sci-fi tends to be dystopian, I think.
Generally speaking.
Or cyberpunk. Cyberpunk would also be an acceptable thing to call it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool that you like metal. If you didn't notice my shirt.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You say you play metal. What would you say? Are you a heavy metal artist, sort of into the dark, or into the death punk, death metal type style, or are you more of I'm gonna say lighter metal style, like with more singing aspects and cleaner vocals?
I've been really digging the a lot of the gent stuff that's been coming out in the past several years. So it's heavy music with a lot of down-tuned guitars and stuff, but it has really good singing on top. So a good example would be like Tesseract, for example. They're a band. They're really good. Do you remember? I don't know if you ever talked to him, Cole Goldrick.
Oh yeah. I was about to ask you if you know him, since I know him and he likes metal.
Yeah. So he actually, I wrote a couple of songs, and he's actually sung on a couple of them.
Okay.
So we've done a couple of songs together, and it's funny because we have. Yeah. Go ahead.
I said he's come on this live stream several times.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
You guys want to come on together? Maybe do something.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what he's up to, but
He just released some more music really recently, within the past couple weeks.
Yeah, there's even one live stream that him and someone else named Samantha Dick were both. They just hosted it exclusively for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, they were running sort of a philosophy talk where they were talking about each other's like missions and how to better kind of push forwards on what they wanted to do with their lives.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but it's funny. Me and him have the same tattoo. We have a tesseract right on our chest. So it's like funny to think about that. Everything.
So, what do you have a band that you play with now?
No, I just do my own thing, make my own songs. It's funny because I just finished a song and I sent it to Cole and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll write some lyrics for it and maybe do some vocals for it." I was like, "Yeah, man, sounds all good." I don't know if he's like gotten around to recording the vocals yet. He sent me the lyrics. It was pretty cool. He's a great lyricist and he has a way with words.
He really does. I've really enjoyed his style of speaking because he's got such a like philosophical, yet it's like angry but not angry. Like it's like assertively objective,
Yeah, I think assertive is the right way to put it. Yeah.
Like there's not emotion to it. It's just like strong,
Right, like matter of fact, like
exactly.
It is,
And that I really appreciate that about like his work.
Yeah.
What about you? What kind of do you ever write your own lyrics, or do you just tend to make the sound?
I tend to make the sound. I've tried writing lyrics in the past, and I don't have like a knack for it. It's not that I don't have a knack for words or even how to say certain things. It's just like in my mind, it's not that I can't say anything. It's like I just have a hard time. I don't know, making something that seems like relevant enough or poetic enough. So that's where I take the music. I make the music do that for me, and then I can kind of like get away without it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I really feel that because sometimes putting together I don't play too many instruments, but sometimes I like to mess around on the piano a little bit, and sometimes finding the right like set of sounds can really like emotionally drive you for a moment. It can be
absolutely
completely relieving. Do you tend to play like every day, or do you have some sort of schedule?
No, I kind of play when the mood strikes me. For a long time, years and years and years, I used to play every single day. No specific time, just like, okay, I have to play for at least half an hour a day or at least an hour or whatever. But what with work and life and how things kind of get out of hand really quickly, it's like some days you can't do it, and then other days it's like you're basically doing it all day. So it's kind of just whenever the mood strikes and whenever I have like a good amount of time that I can kind of allocate to it. I just did an Instagram live stream the other day on a Saturday, just because I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try to learn this guitar part, and it's like that was the time, it's like, okay, I got an hour, just do that,
Did you manage to like kind of solid like get that sound down solidly, or?
I got a little bit of the line underneath my fingers, but I'm still working on it. It's like I'm working on a piece called Primal Eyes. It's from I don't think it's from Final Fantasy. I think it's from a game called Parasite Eve, and so it's like this really fast, like tricky guitar part. So I'm just like kind of getting the general thing down first, really slowly, and then I'll work my way up to the speed.
Would you ever collab with some artists that we know in the area?
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
There's one guy who, along with Colson, I meant to mention. His name is Gordon. Have you heard of him? He's also a fashion guy.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I mean, he's also a metal dude. I don't know if he has ever taken over doing a whole song, or Jason would probably know. But I know he's a metal dude, so you guys might want to meet each other.
Yeah.
Jason, tell him a bit more, since I've only met him like 5 times, maybe.
Right. Gordon's actually gotten a little bit more into.
We can like. There's like I don't know if that's a phone call or something. Could you block that out a bit more?
Oh, it's a page, so I have like no control over it, unfortunately.
I mean, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So,
Yeah.
Jared, sorry, go on.
Yeah. So Gordon has when Alec and I were spending a lot of time with him, like physically, before the coronavirus,
Yep.
he was very into fashion design and creating clothing for rappers, musicians, all sorts of different stuff.
Oh, okay.
But now that I think this had to do a lot with the pandemic as well.
Yep.
Now that that's happened, he's sort of turned more towards creating music.
Okay.
I know that he is really into things like Ableton and helping to add additional sound via these more electronic sources. But the artist that I actually had in mind is a guy named Daniel DeSena.
Okay.
The heavy metal guitarist, a good friend of mine, very influenced by music such by like Rings of Saturn, as well as Whitechapel, Oceano.
Okay.
Sort of these more like heavy artists.
Sure.
Like he's often said he likes thrash metal, like death metal.
Yeah.
He really loves to collab. He's been sort of searching around looking for people that would be interested in making a band with him. And if you were interested, I would totally love to put you guys in the same room, because I know you played the bass, and I feel like those two together.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I do a lot of recording stuff these days, because the whole, like, not that I don't like playing live. It's like, you know, I've kind of relished myself to have to work and, you know, live life like work life, which kind of, you know, it is what it is. But I have no problem, like, you know, talking to people, hanging out, jamming, and if he wants to record stuff, like I've got a studio at home. I'm sure he's got stuff that he does. So I mean, I'm still be down, you know. I think Norman mentioned too, he had somebody who, like, some girl, he didn't mention her name, or he might have, and I forgot, but she wanted to like help with recording stuff, which I was willing to do, but I never heard anything more about that.
Yeah, we have a friend. Her name is most likely Elizabeth. And she has a lot of recording equipment. She does a bit of freestyling, rapping, but she's more. It's a very interesting mix of music that she has, because it's like if a fairy were to start rapping, which is, you know, it's an interesting combo. It's rare for me to hear, so I've enjoyed listening to some of her stuff. Could you tell me? I would love to kind of do a little past and present, or rather past and future segment.
Okay.
Talk about really where you got your original influences from. What sparked you? What drove you to start being a guitarist, and why you chose the bass specifically?
Yeah. So I think, you know, so I had an older sister. And she played guitar, and so naturally it's like, well, you're my younger brother, so you have to play bass in my band, like. So it was like always that setup where it's like, oh, I got to play bass because my sister plays guitar. And over the years, like, I just kind of did my own thing on bass, and I tried playing in bands with her for a little bit, and, you know, kind of like, you know, we ended up doing different things, but so yeah, just playing bass since I was 12, and then you know, just kind of keep doing it. And then right around 16 or 17, I decided to pick up guitar, just because, you know, it was interesting enough. My sister played it, so I just wanted to get that experience. And then same time, I started playing drums. So it was like right around 16, 17, it was like guitar, bass, drums, and just doing it all at the same time, you know.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And was there like a band or I've heard some people say they had a specific band that kind of drove them to make music, but why, like, what drew you to the metal genre? Was it sort of the emotional frequency of the music, or was it just the sound in its raw form, or did you like the culture that was sort of behind the music to begin with?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think mostly it was the sound of it. It's something very like visceral, and you can get away with a lot of stuff that you couldn't in. She's loud. You get away with a lot of stuff that you couldn't get in other genres. You know, like when you're electronic, you kind of have to work within these certain confines. When you're in country, you have to work in certain confines. And even though metal has always had that harsher edge to it, there's so many different subgenres that it goes out into. So like, you know, growing up, like I started off with like Limp Bizkit and Korn and stuff like that. Those are like the primal essence, you know. And then it just kind of evolved, you know, learning about new bands and stuff, and you know, coming up with different things.
So where, continuing forward with this like train of thought, where do you see yourself going in the music industry? What would you hope to do with your next maybe 5 years of music playing? What and on that track, what sort of help do you think you need in order to make that happen?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, you know, for a certain period of time, like I wanted to do like the, you know, good Lord, she's loud. For a certain period of time, you know, I wanted to do like be in a band and like strike it out and play gigs and, you know, live the music life. But I found out pretty quickly that, you know, it's an intense life, and you know, I think a lot of people have a hard time with that. So
intense in what way?
It's a very aggressive lifestyle. You're either always like crammed into a van, kind of traveling around, or you know, you have to play so many gigs every week or every month or whatever to, you know, make your money or whatever and get out there. And a lot of times you spend more money, you know, playing the gig than you do from the gig itself. Like I've had plenty of times where we'll spend a couple $100, you know, renting the van, you know, putting gas together, getting food, getting it all set up and stuff, and then we play for a little bit, we get like $25. So it's like, you know, you're down $175, and that's just one gig, and you multiply that by however many per month or per week even, and you know, it adds up pretty quickly. So for me, it was never a lifestyle that I was able to solidify. And I know people that have, like, they've been able to do their thing and you know, play tons of shows, get paid, and you know, they've been able to live that lifestyle. For me, I always put more of an emphasis on like, well, I got to work, I got to pay rent, I got to eat food, and you know, so I just kind of made that decision, you know. So I kind of decided, you know, I'm going to put sort of my other priorities first. You know, I went to Berkeley, and I have this big student loan debt that I have to pay off, and decided, you know, I'm going to put, so it was like sort of, you know, $500 a month, and it's my like, other priorities you first. Kind of don't get a choice if you don't want to pay it. It's like, well, you either pay it or we're going to take it from you. So it's like, well, okay, I guess I'll just pay it. So it's just, and I think that was probably obviously that must have been, it was a factor of like, well, you know, you kind of have to live a quote unquote normal life, whatever the hell that means, to do that. But at the same time, so I was able to carve out this niche of, well, I can still play gigs every once in a while, like on the weekends or at night or something like that here and there. And, you know, it turned this whole thing of like, well, maybe I really like recording music and, you know, getting that out there. So a lot of my interest has been in recording music, coming up with different ideas, and you're really not locked down to like, oh, is the crowd really going to like this? Well, it's for me. So I can make it, record it, put it out there, and whether I'm the only one that likes it or 10,000 people like it, it's still something that I wanted to do, you know?
And do you feel like, getting back to that, like, sort of original question, where do you feel like, first off, do you feel like you'll be in Rhode Island for a while?
Yeah, I would say so. You know, I've carved out a nice life out here, and it's pretty comfortable. And I guess, yeah, talking to your question about, you know, where I see myself in 5 years.
So to make it a little better, to be a little more specific, where do you see yourself in sort of the Providence musical ecosystem?
You know, what's funny, and maybe this sounds a little silly and contrived, but I see myself as a source of inspiration and knowledge. So, even though I think I've said it for quite a while now, where it's like, I don't really care if I'm famous. I don't really care if a lot of people like what I do. If I have inspired people and taught people different things that they can use, and then they can become popular and famous and do whatever they want to do with it, then that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'd rather inspire the next person who is the the great instrumentalist or the great musician, or help that recording artist who was really having a hard time recording, but then I was able to provide something to them, and then they could do that and make a living off of that. So it's sort of like a source of being a teacher and inspiration in that way.
And what to that end, what have you been doing to become viewed or well known as a musical teacher?
So I talk sometimes to my a high school buddy of mine, and he calls me once in a while and goes, "Hey man, I'm working on this chord progression, but it's not coming together, or it sounds weird." And I'm like, "Oh, did you do this, or did you try this?" And he goes, "Oh man, I forgot all about that, or I didn't even think about that." And it's just that little thing of I was able to solve a problem for him that maybe he would have stopped him dead in the water. And talking about even though I haven't met this girl that Norman mentioned, it's like if she has all these ideas, which her barrier is, well, how do I record them, and what can I use to record them, or more importantly, how can I make it so that I can record them and it doesn't I can get all my ideas out. And if that's a source of knowledge I can give to that person, then I've solved that problem for them, and then they can move forward and get their creativity out in that way.
And so that was an example of what I was asking, but it wasn't so much a full answer.
Okay.
I mean, more than just beyond the occasional helping of one person or another.
Sure.
Have you been attempting to sort of create any sort of name for yourself as someone who can take this role? Have you taken time towards, deliberate branding of yourself in that way? Or has it been sort of a side thought? Because I just want to say, I've seen you play, and I think you're that while I haven't seen you teach, you probably have a lot to teach from the skill that you demonstrated. And it wouldn't be a bad idea for you to take that idea more seriously and maybe try and make it as a music teacher.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It sounds so non-committal in that way of being like, oh, I'll just kind of put it all out there, and then if somebody gets it, they get it. And yeah, I see your point of trying to do that more in a more straight way. I don't think I've done a good job doing that. I to that end, I haven't branded myself as you're a music teacher, or whatever it might be. And I try to inspire people through what do you call it? Just to them maybe noticing or being a friend of a friend rather than a dedicated effort. And I think that could be something I could try to do going forward is becoming more of a focus of okay, well, if I see myself as this person, maybe I should actually enact that rather than just kind of doing it through proxy or whatever.
Well, I mean, to that end, by the time that you're maybe 75, for example, say you're hopefully still running around and stuff.
Yep.
What would you becoming more of a dedicated teacher be something that would make that 75-year-old you happy?
I'm not sure. I think I like teaching people. I've never considered myself the best teacher, but like most things, that comes with practice and doing it. A lot of people have a hard time just teaching people in the various aspects. So I think I like the magic of somebody getting it. And if that's something that I've always appreciated, whether it's, when I'm 25, 35, or 75, that's probably always going to be there, is appreciating when people get it, that, oh, now I get it moment. So I guess, yeah, to answer your question in a very long way, yeah, that sounds like something I would be happy with at, whatever age.
Okay, cool. So we're getting towards the end of our segment.
Yes.
One of the biggest things about the spirit of Providence Haven is that we really love and try to increase collaboration in many forms.
Sure.
So, to that end, I'd like to ask you, would you be interested in potentially talking further about how we can help you maybe create some sort of a plan towards that music teacher, towards really moving you forwards in that regards?
Yeah. I mean, it's so silly because most people, we're afraid of change. And so once you've carved your niche out, you try not to do anything else about it. But at the same time, you have to do what drives your passion. And music is always a passion. Teaching people is always a passion. So, why, I don't know why I should be so afraid of doing that.
You should.
So yeah.
You have a lot. You have a lot to offer, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. And so that's really the only thing you need to worry about. If you didn't have the skill to teach, then it wouldn't even be possible. But obviously, from what I've heard today, you've thought about this a lot. And if you've thought about it so much, maybe this is the time to strike that ignition and get it going.
Yeah. Well, and that's the funny part. It's you got that person thinking, oh, well, I've always wanted to, go base jumping. I always want to go base jumping. And for 15 years, they say, oh, I've always wanted to go base jumping. It's well, at a certain point, you just got to go. You just got to do it, You just got to jump off the bridge.
Would you like to set up a call maybe sometime this week where we could talk about what it maybe would take to try and pursue being a music teacher?
Yeah, we can do that. Try to come up with some ideas. I mean, I know some loose ideas myself, but it's obviously 2 heads are better than 1 or 6 heads, whatever.
Yeah. What works for
you? Let's see. When are you working again? Because I can get back to you on
Thursday night or Friday afternoon.
I think Thursday works because I think I'm working earlier, 9 to 6 or something.
Okay, I work
on Friday, so
work till 7, I think, and then once I get home, I'm totally available for us to do a little bit of that conversation, deliberation.
Yeah.
Alec, are you interested in this at all, or?
Okay, so a bit. One thing I wanted to ask was that a bit earlier in the same show, we had on a guy named Jorge Soto, who, if you want to know a bit more about him and what he's about, you can watch this on Facebook or YouTube. He's into a lot of rock music, and one thing I wanted to ask you was, would you want to work with him? Because I could set you both up. He's a younger dude. He's actually about my age, but if you're down, I could definitely link you guys up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to meet whoever. I mean, obviously, with all the stuff going on these days, we got to be a little careful with social distancing and all that stuff. But yeah, no, I'm down for meeting all new people and new stuff and different experiences that I can only have so many experiences by myself.
All right. That sounds really cool. I would love to maybe get both of you guys in a conversation with each other. Maybe that would be something we could set up for a different live stream. Where
doing that live definitely sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I think that would be a fantastic idea. If Alec, if you don't have anything else to say, I'd love to maybe close this out. Say goodbye. Thank you to Trevor and all of that.
Yeah.
My
I
pleasure, as
mean,
always.
definitely, Trevor. Really liked having you on. I stayed pretty quiet for the whole talk, but I was listening to it as I was, managing whether or not we were actually live on YouTube or not.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But if you're down to be on some other time, maybe with George, maybe to play a bit of your music for us, whatever. Contact us, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, totally. My pleasure, as always.
It was good to see you. I'm really excited to talk on Thursday. I'm going to put it into my calendar.
Yep.
And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this experience. Talk to you soon.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. Yeah, good to see you.
Oh, look at us. We're all alone.
That was beautiful. That was incredible. I hope that you guys enjoyed.
This was such a good live. I'm going to say the thing that I say after we finish almost every single live that I stopped saying because Garrison pointed it out. But now I'm going to say it before we finish. This was like the best one we did so far.
You think so, for real?
Huh?
You think so, for real?
Yeah.
Why?
Because we got a ton of new people on, and Haven is all about bringing people together, and that's exactly what we did this time.
Yeah, it was cool that we started this with the intention to just get new people in.
Yeah, unfortunately, we wanted to do that with all 4 segments. We got 2 and I guess and a half if you count the first one done. But yeah, we came pretty close, and it turned out to be a good show.
I mean, I gotta tell you, you should be proud of the fact that we still got 2 people on. You know, we put in.
I mean, I was afraid that we wouldn't get any people on this time. I was scared. Last night I spammed Larison's phone and asked him because I contacted some people that we both know, and I wasn't sure if they would all come on. I was like, "Are you sure they can come on?"
But yeah, I always, what's really fantastic about an entrepreneurial mindset is that we will always try to shoot for really high stuff. Mm-hmm. And whether or not we reach that like perfect goal that we had or we get somewhere near it, like I'm always proud of what we were able to accomplish with our efforts.
Yeah. So I think that's a good note to close the show on. So to you, viewer, if you're watching on YouTube, that's awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed the first time we did that. If you're watching on Facebook, thanks for coming back, or maybe you came here for the first time as well. With that, we'll see you guys all later. Peace.
Goodbye.